Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another tantalizing episode of Touching the Stove. I am your gem of a co-host, Desiree Anani, and I am joined
by her daring host, Amadou C. Welcome back to yet another episode of Touching the Stove. 2 weeks ago, we discussed having haters. What does that look like? How do you deal with that? And what are the implications of having or being a hater? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it good to have haters? All of that was in the previous episode of which we discussed. And segueing that into this episode, speaking of haters, traveling while black. Yes, today's episode, we're going to dive deep into the pitfalls of traveling while black, kind of experiences you should expect to have, and what are the implications of which by doing so, whether you're going as a group or if you're doing it solo, traveling while black is not for the faint of heart. For all you white people or white adjacent out there that are, we have a bunch of you guys also listening. This episode is for y'all too. You can listen in on some of our experiences and maybe help us work to change some of that.
The weather is getting warmer. I, for one, want to very much be outside. And I think the same can be said for many of you. And so, we just want to talk a little bit about some of the nuances, what we can do to prepare ourselves, what we can do to best position ourselves to enjoy these trips, to maintain a safe and stable experience, and also how to stand your ground in the event that you are challenged. Because I, for one, am not willing to always stay silent.
Right. And if you ever travel and you hear the word, what you doing here, boy or girl, run.
Don't even look
don't even, just run. Just what you doing here, boy, just run.
When the sun sets, it's there.
Yeah. Hey, some places in America, they still hanging. And I don't mean hanging out. So that leads us beautifully into the next segment. Traveling while black, what do you need to know? The first question you should be asking yourself is, do they like black people? I was going to say something else, but for those of you who've seen the viral TikTok, you know exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? So when I wake up and I'm like, oh, let me look at a map and let me go visit a country. Let me think about the historical context and the implication of being black in that space. Is it safe for me? There are certain countries I would not dare go alone.
Poland. That's Poland.
Du and I are going to share a couple of different experiences. One which was recent, actually, that shocked me, because you would think that we are far removed from certain ideologies and behaviors.
Oh, I don't think that for a second.
Well, I thought so. I was hopeful, and I was greatly disappointed.
Vastly disappointed. So we're gonna approach this episode a little differently. Rather than we're gonna, introduce the topic, introduce communication theory. This go round, the topic is a microcosm of a bunch of different theories. So we're gonna approach this like one of those flow charts where whenever you're trying to make a decision or you're trying to introduce a concept, do they like black people? If the answer is yes, go. So this is looking like your Africas, your Jamaicas, your maybe Haiti. I said maybe Haiti. Places where it's predominantly us. So you go there, they're not gonna know you. They're not gonna know you not really from there unless you open your mouth. So you're good. So if the answer is yes, do they like black people? Good. No problems. Obviously, have your wits about you, especially if you're a woman traveler. Please have your wits about you. Have your emergency apps ready. Make sure you have that little door thingy to prevent people from coming in your room. Have all that. Have your emergency contacts ready to go. Your sanitary supplies. Have all that ready. Now, if the answer is no, Desifer, what would you do?
So, there are certain spaces and certain places that we want to go to for historical context, for knowledge, for growth and for development.
Or to witness their atrocities.
Well, that speaks to Auschwitz. which is one of the experiences that we recently had, right? We learned in the moment that we landed um, that we were no longer
Welcomed.
welcomed. It felt like visiting a third dimension, honestly. It was an out of body experience in the sense that, again, for me, I'm thinking the world has seen so much, has grown so much, has developed. And so there should be a level of, even if it's not acceptance, at least tolerance, right? And one of the things that I took from that shell shocking experience is go where you are celebrated and not tolerated. There are certain economies that will never see my dollar again, and they may never see the lights of Desi, and that's okay.
And that's fine. You know, so I look at it like this. Okay. When deciphering where I'm going to travel to as a black traveler, I need to know a couple of things. First, do they like us? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. So, but that should not deter you from traveling.
Beyond that, I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine, and I was telling him that, it was shell shocking, it was startling, XYZ. And he said, was it that we were black or was it that we were black Americans? Right?
That's a good question.
Because
that's a good question.
I think that there is also a dichotomy or a deviation. And if I had maybe a European passport, would we have gotten treated differently? If I had an African passport or a Caribbean passport, would that have actually mattered?
To your credit, out of TSA, unless we open our mouths, they're not going to know the difference. I think black does not help in any context. Yeah, if you're black, that black American certainly doesn't help. But if you're black, right there, there's already a problem. You're black. Okay, let's start there. So, to your point, I think there is some slight differences. Like if we went
through the UAE line,
yeah, if you UAE, it might have been a different story. Yeah. I'm not denying that. However, the skin tone is a dead giveaway right then and there. Maybe we could have passed for Indian, but I doubt they would have treated. Maybe I said, hey, there are dark-skinned Indians. There are dark-skinned Indians.
Okay, but
tons of them.
Correct, but they don't look the way we look, and y'all have seen us. So no, dude, that was not gonna fly.
Fair enough. To your point, okay, so we've identified a place we want to go.
Correct.
Okay, despite all odds. We now know they do not like black people. Of course they don't. Where else other than where we are? Where really do they? But that's not going to stop us, right? We're world travelers. We are happy, whole, healthy, and healed. We are warriors. We are survivors. We were going to find a way to spend that money, and we're going to find a way to enjoy ourselves. Okay, so we've identified that this place does not like black people. Mm-hmm. Now, we need to know a few things. Mm-hmm. First, is this a place that I need to go by myself?
Absolutely not.
Right. It's always better, where possible. We're not, to our solo travelers out there, we're not saying take a buddy, but we are saying it helps to have a buddy, especially if they're black. But what helped? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had a conversation with a girlfriend literally earlier in the week, and I was saying, as a woman, there are certain spaces that I feel very comfortable going into. Right. But there are certain spaces that I prefer having a male's presence.
Correct. It's just safer. Like certain bars, for example.
It makes it seem you could probably still do your razzle-dazzle, little rascal behavior regardless, but having a man there may make a person think twice.
Having a man there definitely makes a difference. To all my women travelers, if you have a male best friend or a brother, somebody. Consider inviting them on a trip, because you just never know. And that isn't even to say what you'll come to experience the moment you land. TSA, you might not even make it out the airport. We've heard some of the stories. We've seen some of the TikToks. Do you remember that one TikTok that lady made where the guy, she was in, was it Jamaica? I can't remember exactly where she was, but they were trying to break into her room.
Yeah.
And it was a story time.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I was tracking the story of where they were trying to rob the young lady upon arrival.
That one too. Yeah.
And I was like, dang.
That was
got here. He ain't even do anything yet.
Right.
So, on the subject of being robbed, do not bring your most valuable possessions with you on the trip. Don't do that.
People do that?
Some people do.
What do you mean by valuable possessions?
We not trying to be all blinged out, all decked out.
Or at least not at the airport.
Like,
yeah, at least not at the airport. Do not bring, here, I'll say this, because this happened in Desert. Do not bring anything that you are not comfortable with losing. She brought some traditional tribal dresses, beautiful dresses made of silk and whatever other expensive material. She had it all and lost it. I do two strategies. I either pack in such a way to where, like, if I do bring something nice with me, I make sure that, like, it's something nice that I've had for a long time. So if I've lost it or whatever, it's okay, because, you know what I'm saying? Or I shop while I'm there.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I think I will speak to my personal experience in Barcelona, Spain. You know, we've heard of the pickpockets. We've heard of the
got finessed.
No, it's got finessed. It's got robbed in broad daylight and, like, was okay with being robbed. Well, I wasn't okay. But in that moment, I realized I don't need to be carrying a lot of cash. I am not a cash-oriented person because, again, if you're looking at different currencies, if you're looking at different monetary values, carrying cash is a very easy way. If that's your only means of spending and getting around the country, you're literally SOL.
No, see, I disagree with you on that, because as a person who does carry cash, I just have a general rule to me. I don't carry more than $200 on me at any point.
Fair enough.
So if in the event that I do lose, I know some people that carry $500, $800, $900 on them.
That's not my
One of my cousins is like that. Anywhere he goes, he got $1,000 in his pocket, ready to go.
Again.
Cash. I know he'd be sick to his stomach if he lost his wallet. So one of my rules is I can always go to the ATM and get more, right? You could, and that's another thing. When traveling, remember, you can always get more. You can always get it again. Don't sweat it. Let them have it. Whatever it is that they took, it's not worth getting sex trafficked, kidnapped, etc. Don't go trying to fight it.
Yeah,
just get you another one. No, trust me.
They've studied it. They know what it is.
They got tricks. They real tricky. You are not the equalizer. You will get your stuff equalized. Trust me.
You know. So I think, again, we're talking about going to a destination, a foreign country, or even a foreign state or a foreign city, right? And I'll share this. For example, I went down to Tennessee about 2 months ago, and I was down in Memphis. I personally did not know that Memphis had this reputation of being a shotgun type of city.
Gun, like the gun, like, okay.
I was told when the sun sets, you no longer want to be outside. So it was either, you know, if you want to get bedded or killed, stay outside. But if you want to stay safe, come inside.
Okay, so we're gonna break this down into rules. Rule number 1. Ask yourself the question, do they like black people? Mm-hmm. Rule number 2, do your research. What are the people like? Are there a bunch of pickpockets waiting for you right outside the airport? You know, how are you getting around? Are you catching subways? Or do they have Uber? Do they have Bolt? How are you getting around? Rule number 3, consider traveling with others. For our solo travelers out there, make sure that you have your head on swivel. Make sure you have your emergency apps downloaded. Make sure you have everything you need in the event that's, you know, make sure you have someone at home base. In the event, yeah. Have someone at home base who, if they don't hear from you after a certain amount of time has elapsed, whatever time you're comfortable with, they know to call the authorities or to call the embassy, whatever. Rule number 4, consider the culture of where you're going. One of the biggest shocks that I experienced during my travels, I spent 6 months in France. And one of the things that really I didn't vibe with, I didn't mesh well with, was when I was entering certain not all of them, but certain restaurants, some of the people brought their dogs into the restaurants and the dog sat at the table with you while you're eating your food. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't want to share the same plate as a dog. But for them, c'est normal. That's that they love their dogs. I'm not saying don't love your furry friends, don't love your furry companions, but what I am saying is do not bring, they can stay their behinds outside. That's just me. They don't need to be in the restaurant eating off the same plate we eating off. No, don't do that. I will not eat at your restaurant again. You cannot pay me to go back there. I know some of y'all love y'all dogs, be kissing them on the mouth. I am of the black folks who don't let dogs even lick my face. I am that class of black people. Sorry, I'm actually not sorry. F you. I'm so serious. So consider the culture of where you're going.
And then beyond that, additionally, take into account what are the societal norms.
Right.
Right? Is it, for example, I will say this, Europeans don't believe in personal space. They will be, like here we have this whole concept of my bubble, don't sit next to me, have a little bit of, COVID helped a little bit with the social distancing piece, but one of my girlfriends was in France and she said, people will literally be in your face. Like they will be extremely close to you. Is that something that you're comfortable with? You know, if you're going to a mall, maybe you won't be able to turn around and not see somebody. Is that something that's going to bother you? Claustrophobia, if you're stuck in an elevator or if you're stuck in the stairs, what are the things that can be a trigger to you?
Right. So that's rule number 5. Know your triggers. Know what you're willing to tolerate. Know what you're not willing to tolerate. I know I don't want no dogs in no restaurant. That's just me. Not no 4-star, 5-star, Michelin star, whatever you want to give it star restaurant. I don't want no dog. I bet not see no dog or cat up in it.
I know that if I go to the beach, I want people to have some form of clothing on. So I'm not going to a nudist beach. So like that's something to me that y'all could go ahead and be naked together.
I will say, if you find yourself in a hot spring or a thermal bathhouse, be prepared as a man, when you enter that thermal bathhouse and you see a bunch of old, aging white men, I want you to hear it from me. These people do not care. I mean, pee-pees, well, I wouldn't say swinging. It's more like, it would be more like pee-pees lightly jiggling. I was the only thing swinging. And the moment I sat in that water, they hated me. And I had my drawers on. No, so let me share with you a quick anecdote. I was in Budapest. They were telling me about their thermal bathhouse. You know how the volcanic sulfur little pools of water that they got. They said, man, it's so good for your skin. You know, and by the way, Budapest, they don't like us there either, but they like us. They do like us.
No, they like us in small doses.
They like us in small doses. Budapest, black travelers, go ahead, shake hands. I recommend Budapest by all means.
The food is good.
The food is good.
It's pretty.
It's pretty. Yeah. Go there. Check it out. I went there. I went into their thermal bathhouse. It was. They said it was male day. Right there, I'd never been in a thermal bathhouse before, so in my mind that should have ran a trigger for me. But I'm like, what, male day? Okay, whatever. You know, I'm a male. Cool. I go in. They were like, do you want draws or no draws? I said, draws or no draws? What you mean draws or no draws? Like, do you want to go nude or do you want to have swim trunks? I said, cats is out here just bare behind, just in the water. Like, y'all don't got no, and it's like a thermal water, so it ain't no filters. Like, how y'all cleaning that? But I guess the sulfur or the whatever, it cleans itself. Okay, cool. So I'm all right. I'm gonna do the shorts because I don't know what type time people are on. I want to be respectful of the culture. Why was I the only one in there with shorts?
And how did that make you feel?
I felt great because I'm looking at all of that and I'm like, I know your wives are disappointed. I know your wives hate you. Because I'm looking around and I'm like, I hate you. Like, this is what you're giving your wives? I am so sorry. I'm sorry to that woman. Cause and then y'all are walking around so proud, so boisterous. beer bellies, pot bellies, as far as the eyes can see. Like just no shame. Where's your shame, sir? Put that away. Where's your pride? Like, I know they had pride in abundance,
but it was misplaced.
It very misplaced. And and when I walked in, mind you, black while traveling, I walked in. If you ever seen the movie Get Out, where he goes upstairs and everybody stops talking and looks up, that's what happened in that bathhouse. I walked in, they looked at me like, shoo. And what saved me was, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, this finna get nasty. And I'm like, there's about 30 or 40 people in the room, and I think the youngest person in there might have been 40, other than me. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, if they all rush me right now, I can take at least 15, 20. And if I can, I'm thinking of exit routes in my mind. I'm calculating, and I'm like, all right. I'm like,
you automatically went into survival mode.
I went into survival mode. Just my mind just like, all right, I didn't think this is how I'm going out, but I'm going out swinging. And I mean that 2 ways in one. So I'm going out swinging. But what saved me was there happened to be another black traveler from Sweden. And he came in and they did the same thing to him. They looked at him as soon as he came in. We eyed each other. And he bolted right next to me and we sat next to him. Didn't know him from a can of paint.
That universal sign of solidarity. Right?
Universal.
Like, hey,
whenever
I see you, I recognize you.
Rule number 6 while traveling.
Solidarity.
Find other black people. They are there. Find them.
And the thing is, even when around here, you go around someone, you're like, hey, what's up? The nod, the universal
nod. You'd be surprised. There are a lot of other black folks out here that are looking for companionship. They want to be, they live there. And they're always happy to see, in my experience, they're always happy to see other black folk, especially if you're not from there.
Yeah.
They are the happiest to see you.
Not only that, but they're willing to tell you about their country. They're willing to tell you about their experience.
For free.
To give you recommendations.
For free.
I mean, that was a part of, going to a coffee shop and just running into people. I think that there is beauty in stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And then also being welcomed in that space.
Yes. Rule number 6, find other black people. Unless if you're going to like the country like Dominican Republic, where okay, that's all us. But I mean like your France, your Berlins, your Italies, your Budapest, not Poland. Your not Poland. The UKs, the United Arab Emirates, all your Chinas, your Japanese, your Thailands. Find
other black people, but find other people of color that will want to engage and embrace you.
Correct.
Because I think that, again, there is a very much us versus them mentality. Don't cancel me, don't be mad, but I'm talking a little bit about Puerto Rico, right? There's a long-standing and I'm not black like you situation that I personally experienced while I was in PR. It's like, sir, ma'am, you have just the amount of melanin or very close to it as me. The only difference between you and I is that Spanish is your first language and it's not mine. And so there was that sense of I'm Afro-Latina or Afro-Latino and I have Hispanic lineage and heritage, so I'm not black.
That leads me to rule number 7. Not all skin folk are kinfolk. You will meet a lot of not for us black folk out there.
Correct.
The me no black. You'll meet me no black. You will meet a lot of them.
And
when I say find other black folks, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about hey brother, I see you, brother. I see you. Welcome to my country. Come on through.
No, and again, sitting in the airport, saw a lovely interracial couple, but the woman was staring me down as if I disrespected her.
How dare you look at her man?
How dare I look at her husband, who I was not even interested in.
You were interested in.
No. Dude.
Hey, listen, I know. Hey, you were interested in that guy. He was a good-looking guy.
But again, he acknowledged my blackness, and one of my girlfriends, we were together. He saw the both of us. We had the exchange, and I was trying to figure out.
She said, "You see how she said we had the exchange?" She gave him his number. She gave him her number. It's okay.
Exchanging numbers on trips and travel.
I mean, well, what you there for? You know what I mean, you got to how you gonna get to know somebody? You feel me? Like, hey, listen, fellas, hey, I'm not saying be a passport, bro, but what I am saying is,
the love of your life is not on the flight that you're taking. The love of your life is not at the airport. I promise.
The love of your life might not be in the same country.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying be one of them passport losers, but what I am saying is consider, and all my ladies, and all of you who are switching sides, for lack of a better term, before you switch sides, I implore you, go to Jamaica, go to Africa, go to Brazil before you switch sides. That's all I'm asking. Please go to one. You will find them ready to line up to marry you.
So my thing is this: we're talking traveling while Black. We're talking making connections. We're talking establishing friendships or potentially even relationships. Right? Having that in mind, being someone that is open. I think that you get the most out of an experience when you're willing to expect the unexpected, and you're also willing to embrace experiences as they come. So not necessarily closing yourself off to things. Trying new dishes, right? Whenever, for me, if I go to a particular country, what is it that the locals are eating? Where are the locals going? What are the hidden gems? I want to get into that. Don't send me to the tourist trap.
And don't bring your friends that's ordering chicken nuggets off the kids' menu. Don't bring them. Bring your friends that are willing to try something new, willing to explore.
Something with you.
Yeah.
Willing to try a new dish. Willing to eat things that you may never have thought of. Okay, I'm not saying like spiders and stuff, but I mean maybe.
Oh, you're sick. Anyway, that being said, rule number 8? Rule number 8. I think it's 8. Rule number 8. For those of you keeping count, is either rule 8 or rule 9. So let's just say rule number 8. Consider who you are traveling.
I learned recently that there is a difference between people that are travelers and people that are vacationers.
What's the difference?
The travelers are
And how does this relate to traveling while Black? Go ahead.
Okay, no. So here are the nuances of a traveler. So the people that are waking up at 6 a.m.
The sickos, okay.
No, you're a part of that crew.
Oh, I'm not denying it. I'm just saying the sickos. Yeah, I'm sick with them. Okay. I get it though. But I'm not annoying with it. I'm not waking up.
Still out on that one. Okay, so you have the people that are up at 6 a.m. They have the rigid itinerary. They have the events. They're going to do what should probably be a 1-week trip in 4 days. They're jam-packing everything. Jet lag does not exist here. There is no real space for sleep. Then you have your vacationers. They just want to sit by the poolside. They want to stay at the resort. They want to go to the all-inclusive breakfast. They're not running. They're not walking with haste. I consider myself to be both, right? I want to enjoy the experience. Dude's rolling his eyes at me. What?
Desiree is not both. She is one of them. I have an itinerary and it is packed to the moment we leave.
No, but here's the thing. I have my 3 non-negotiables and everything else is gravy on top.
Okay, let's hear it. 3 non-negotiables.
3 non-negotiables. If I go on a trip, you're going to find me in a garden. I don't care if you're coming with me or not. I'm going to see the greenery. I'm going to see the trees. I'm going to see the flowers. I'm going to see the garden. I'm going to see a museum. I'm going to see an art gallery. I'm going to see some type of historical artifact. And last but not least, I'm going to eat. You're not about to have me hungry. I don't complain about food. I'm not going to be the one to say like I want to eat. But when I'm hungry, well, sorry for yourself. Each man and woman for themselves. Because I'm going to find the food and that's going to make me happy.
So to recap a little bit, let's come back. Rule 8, not all skin folk are kinfolk. Desifer, you have 2 rules you want to introduce? Let me hear it.
Rule number 9.
Thank you.
I'm tired of you. Let's talk about timeliness, arrival to the airport, and arrival to transportation, right? So if the flight leaves at 5
Do not bring your late friends on any travel trip. And you know who your late friends are. Do not bring your timely friends. Bring your 2-hour early friends. Bring them.
I mean,
do not bring your lollygaggers. Do not bring your lackadaisicals. Do not bring the bum. Listen, one thing that I've learned while traveling, try your best to bring people who are on the same wavelength when it comes to time.
My thing. This is where I have a bone to pick with you. For the people that want to spend 3 hours in the airport and just be there, I salute your courage. That is not me. At maximum, an hour and a half, I think is fair, right? Like, if you know, actually, run it back. Free the transportation and the airport. How did you pack your luggage?
Oh, do we have the check baggers?
Yeah,
or
are we doing the backpacks? Are we doing the carry-ons? Or are we checking our bags, right? And what does that look like?
Yeah. Do you have a bag full of makeup? And you know who hey, listen, I know you listening to this. You know who you are.
No, but again, let's talk about that. Traveling while black with cosmetics, with medication.
With wigs. With no, not one. Wigs, plural.
So yes, there is the possibility that if you have a lot of stuff in your bag, you may get stopped.
Stopped aggressively, especially if you're black.
It's like, why are you, what are you hiding?
Man.
Like, what are you preparing for?
I don't have a bag full of cosmetics. Let me tell you, they stopped me for having shea butter. I had not even 100 milliliters worth of shea butter. And they stopped me because the container that I had the shea butter in.
What exactly you were going to do with the container, we don't know.
Good question. The container was not 100 milliliters. The container was 250 milliliters. But I had 100 milliliters of shea butter in it. Right? Because I had a little measuring thingy so I could see how much I had in it. And they stopped me and made me throw it away. I have never been that ashy in my life.
No. So I had, I think, like a donut or something. So like there was, some powder residue just like in with my candy and snacks and stuff. So they went and took a wipe. I don't know if they thought I was like harboring cocaine or drugs or something. They were like, we just have to run it through the machine. And I'm just looking at the man wiping through my snack bag, and I'm just like, bro, this is literally powder from like Munchkins. But okay, if I had drugs, I wouldn't have put it with my candy. That's not something, I don't know where people that put their drugs, but that's not what I would have done. And I don't think that I would have had a brilliant spot to
put drugs. Right with the candy. I'd never think about that.
Not giving Drew any ideas. Drew does not do. We don't do drugs over here. Drug free, stay drug free. But that being said, I don't think that would have been an experience I would have had I not been me. Right.
Right.
People are traveling with snacks and food all the time. So why are you so concerned about what's in my snack bag?
And
or why are you so concerned about my medications or my makeup or whatever it is or my shoes?
Yeah.
We were wearing like boots, ankle boots, Chelsea boots type things, and they said that we had to take off our shoes to make sure that there was nothing inside the shoe. That didn't even make any sense. No one else was removing their shoes. And we were randomly selected for an extended search. When it comes to traveling, packing strategically, making sure that your luggage is under the weight, making sure your different products, whether it be the body wash or oil or lotion, all of that is staying underneath the recommended fluid ounces requirements. Making sure that you have those potentially clear and transparent bags so that nobody's actually ruffling through your things. They even made me lose my lip balm, and that was very upsetting because it was Bees Hertz. And y'all know that's expensive. Making sure that you're not making yourself a target. If you have anything that potentially could resemble a weapon, don't bring it. If you have anything that you think will get you detained, don't bring it. If you go shopping and buy stuff, make sure you declare what you bought.
Also get that global entry if you don't have it already.
Yeah, global entry, TSA pre-check, clear, all that. Get through the security lines as quick and as efficiently as possible.
Get that global entry. Rule number 10. If possible. This is not a mandatory rule. Let me be clear. This is not a mandatory rule.
I wouldn't necessarily call them rules. I think that they're more so along the lines of guidelines in assisting you to ensure that you have a safe, healthy, and conducive trip.
And that you make it back.
Correct.
Yeah.
We want you.
Oh, we want you back.
Meditate.
And like, finally, my bonus rule, guideline number 10 for all you Desi's out there. Have you a token white friend where possible. Bring them with you. Say, look, Whitey, come with me.
An ally? Someone that's willing to rock.
Is that that's what we call them these days? Have you a side switcher with you? Male or female, it doesn't usually matter. Make sure that they don't got to stay with you, but make sure they're, you can access them. They're around. They can guide you around, something like that. Somebody who is with you, for you. This might not always be possible. I acknowledge that. But when it is possible, boy, does it help. My friend has gotten me into rooms, situations, doors, etc. Gotten me first class seats. Yeah, for just by opening their mouth and advocating on my behalf.
No, I mean, again, I think that it speaks volumes to have people that are willing to use their, I don't want to say privilege, but their presence.
No, it is. It's a form of privilege. If they open their mouth, they, unfortunately.
They get listened
So
to.
if you're in a group of people, all you need is just one. Just one. Make sure that before you, even if you the alpha or whatever y'all call it, whatever. The lead, if you're the leader, if you're the leader of the group, then you say, hey, make sure he's at the front of the, so he can see and have him say, hey, he's with us, blah, blah, blah.
We're waiting for one more member of our party.
There you go.
I mean, again.
Nothing wrong with having someone advocate and voice the people for you. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing. We all need somebody that's rooting for us in our corner and being. And then the last piece is, if you are traveling in a group, making sure that you stick together.
Stick with the group. I cannot stress that enough. Unless there was a conversation and something in our itinerary, right? And okay, I'm doing a solo trip. We're splitting. Unless that conversation was already had. But if that conversation was not had, together. For my solo travelers, make sure somebody knows where you are. Share that location. You can share it temporarily, share it for the duration of your trip, share it for however long you need to share it for.
But make sure somebody's checking for you.
Make sure somebody checks in. It don't gotta be every day. It could be every 2 days, 3 days, whatever, once a week, however long your duration is. Have someone checking in. Have a contingency. If you don't hear from me by Friday, call the National Guard, call the U.S., call everybody.
And again, one service that is available to all Americans traveling is you can literally go and register with the Department of State.
Yep.
If you're traveling and say, hey, I'm going to XYZ country. In the event that there is a national emergency, at least they're checking for you.
Exactly.
I mean, that's not something that you necessarily have to do, but it is something that is available.
It's available to you. Use your resources. And it's free. Use your resources. And remember, when traveling while black, have your wits about you. Try to go places that somewhat tolerate you. Even though it shouldn't be like that, unfortunately, until things get better, it is like that. Use your discernment.
And then also, maybe even trying to find certain communities or certain areas where you feel as though, okay, I can go try this particular culture's food or have this particular experience. Those are things that contribute to the overarching trip. And again, we deserve to have those moments, those memories, and those experiences. So finding ways to do them in a way that keeps us safe is the biggest caveat. So in the event that you do seem to feel as though you are unsafe or in danger, act, react, and be prompt about it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and continue engaging with us on social medias. If there are any topics or conversations or questions you want us to dive into, definitely send them our way. We are really big on engagement here, and we want to hear what you all have to say or whatever it is that is prevalent around you. And that is Touching the Stove.